Two quick things before we get into the subject of today's video. If you can hear any whirring in the background, I apologise. I decided to print before I started recording and forgot it takes 8.5 hours. It's either I do this now or I do this when I'm meant to be streaming tonight at 9 PM GMT over on the Omegon Plays channel and on Twitch. I'm going to stream some Euro Truck, see what we can do today. Perhaps the heavy deliveries only, which will make it incredibly difficult. Link to that channel down below, and Twitch of course. Now moving on to an article that was posted on my Discord server. I'm not going to give it too much time, but I do want to address it because of this whole appealing to everyone for the sake of it, so we must appease groups and not make them look stupid if they are oddly more prevalent in performing certain actions or activities. I also say this because the article was dated in 2017. Quacks, seriously, honestly. I clicked it and thought it's hilarious, saw the date and realised it's 2 years old. But it is a nice little segue article onto this racial insensitivity that the point of the article covers. See, in Seattle, when this was published, there was an incident where hosing down sidewalks became prevalent. Why, might you ask, was that? Well, that's because there was a lot of feces on the paths, something which Paul Joseph Watson covered in San Francisco earlier this year, I believe. A tourist hotspot that is also a literal pile of poop, which I'm not exactly going to denigrate too much. I'm sure it's not everywhere, much like I'm sure it's not everywhere in Seattle. But the point really is that a Seattle area councilman at the time deemed it to be racially insensitive to do this. This being because of a considerable number of criminals who happened to be leaving the courthouses where this was happening, and those criminals being from a certain racial background. So we must, of course, not hose it down, but, I don't know, get doggy bags? All it's just to do, smear it with a baby wipe. I know, vanish, because that totally does what it says on the tin. Or better yet, let's all pull out our magic wands and think of a spell that will make it go away. Expecto, excremento, disappearo. How about that? Or, so that nobody can see it at all. Blindio pedestriano. That way they can only smell it, and then we can deal with that with another spell, and I cannot be bothered to think of one at the top of my head that would blind all senses, so no one's going to see someone's fecal matter on the sidewalk or pavement. Judges in this area at the time had asked the city to use power washers to do this, which is, I think most of us can agree, a reasonable request. Apparently not. Now, I raise the argument of appeasing people because of racial sensitivity because it handily falls in line with something political, which I kind of want to cover on this channel because there's a bigger point to it, about meritocracy as opposed to appealing for the sake of appealing. So for this we're going to insert a cuck. Yes, this cuck. He's the perfect one. Somebody who is trying to appeal to everyone at all costs. Now, I would cover this on the political channel, but there's so much going on with Boris Johnson, I cannot cover it. Vauxhall Labour, Twitter account, put out this tweet. This evening we passed a motion requesting that the next Labour MP for Vauxhall be selected from an all-woman shortlist. And then different races for emojis there. Very classy. The shortlist must also guarantee places for women from black and minority ethnic backgrounds given the diversity of our constituency. If that's the case, why are two of the emojis white? In fact, we should just remove them, that way guaranteeing black and minority ethnic backgrounds, shouldn't we? Or give them the Martina Big treatment. And I'm going to share this story. I went to see a friend near Heathrow, and I had to stop off at Heathrow at the pickup point near Terminal 5. Okay, drop-off point, but he tried to pick me up from there, but I didn't know where it was. While waiting for a phone call, I actually saw Martina Big. And I'm just going to say now, Martina, when I asked you if you had anything else to learn and you said no, you looked blacker than a Somalian pirate. It probably didn't help that you were wearing a white dress. I would have gotten a picture, by the way, for you to see, with myself, obviously, as my avatar, but unfortunately she declined. Oh well, I guess you can't win them all. I will say, her husband, a lot taller than I expected. The smile is very misleading. Continuing on with the tweets though, does AWS mean less able women? No. Shadcab members such as Angela Rayner and Rebecca Long-Bailey were selected with AWS. Other AWS women include Gloria De Piero, Stella Creasy, Jess Phillips, as well as many others. They have undoubtedly strengthened both our party and Parliament. I should now tell you AWS stands for All Woman Shortlist. I will say this, I do know who all these ladies are, and they have accomplished so much that they all have notoriety in their own unique way. Most notably Jess Phillips, for laughing at Philip Davis when he raised the issue of men. That was nice. And then summarily having a falling out with Sargon of Carl when he said, I wouldn't even rape you. I'm not getting involved in that. That joke is dead. Needless to say, all these ladies are notorious for something. Continuing with the tweet, some object to all women shortlists on the grounds that they think it's demeaning to women, which it is. All women selected by this method will always be thought of as second class, because they are not fighting on an even playing field. They are selected without merit, because if it were with merit, they would have beaten all the best candidates, and not those that were selected as opposed to those that were excluded. Meaning that the very best person there, i.e. the Pokemon Master of the constituency, more like a gym leader I think actually, is being denied the chance to fight against the best. I'm not saying men are the best, I'm saying that you should have everyone that is available and credible to compete. Perhaps have a dance-off, or a rap battle. However, most folks can't say which method MPs were selected by. In all, the great majority of Labour's women MPs were selected using AWS, which explains oh so much about Labour's current situation politically. You didn't choose people based on merit, and I know parties choose people based on arbitrary factors, ones that they set themselves, some who have experience as a councillor and earned their way up to an opportunity to try and become an MP, others because they know people within the party and are trusted, or because their dads know each other or something like that. The list does go on. But when you deny everyone a chance, deny all those who want to try and compete for that spot, you are setting yourselves up to fail. You are creating a party of tokens. You want equal representation, equal outcome, but you are denying the one fundamental problem, equal opportunity. And to go back to the article about racially insensitive, this is where it comes up, because it is exactly that. You are trying to posit the theory of racial sensitivity by denying others an opportunity. Yes, Vauxhall as a constituency may be predominantly from different backgrounds, therefore white people may not be as dominant in that area, but there are still white people there. How are they going to feel knowing that they are being denied representation because you have devolved this down to race? How do you think they are going to feel about having themselves denigrated by race, denied opportunity because of race, like the BBC does with job opportunity, because of an arbitrary factor they cannot control? It is basically being told you are denied a privilege because of your skin colour, which is totally unacceptable. To continue with the virtuous tweeting, if the Labour Party continues to use all women shortlists in the way that it has done for the last 4 elections, well done. We will be the first major political party in the UK to achieve 50% women MPs. Achievement unlocked! We are virtuous. We are resplendent. We are morons. No all-women shortlist could easily go backward as we did in 2001 when all-women shortlists was not used. In an ideal world, candidates would be selected on merit alone and we would not need to use AWS. Which is right. Which is why you don't see many women in politics. Because they're not good enough. That's not to say women aren't. It's just there aren't enough of them that are good enough. They're not corrupt enough. They're not snakes enough. Unfortunately, all the evidence is that women do not have a level playing field. And if we truly believe in equality, we need to do something proactive to even things up by denying men an equal opportunity. I salute you, you colossal smegheads.